Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Man, I wish I could get out of these dank dungeons and finally establish a career in management. But every time I leave this place, bitches instantly get up on my dick. What can I do? Have you ever considered a career in pimping? And before you say, isn't the act of illicit sex trade frowned upon and punishable by law and moral conduct? Well, normally yes, but not on this city. Everyone here is super evil and totally deserves whatever happens to them, so you can write off any kind of moral dilemma you might have against it. Use your natural charm and powers of persuasion to acquire all the worthwhile talent by any means necessary. Have you considered a career in the sex industry? BAM! You're hired. Buckle up with your S&M friends and fight against rival gangs for total control of the city in the most absurd way possible. Destroy robots by sucking their dick.
Don't suck my cock! No!
Send clowns flying with a home run. Or hit the police with the old Spanish donkey. No one ever expects the Spanish donkey. By this point, Persona 5 has firmly established itself in the collective unconscious and became an influential game in and out of the genre, arguably standing close to landmarks such as Final Fantasy VII, or at least enough to make the kids think that it invented jazz and pyramids. Of course, this resulted in everyone wanting to get some of that action and profit, especially Atlas themselves, who are not particularly known for their self-restraint when it comes to milking a franchise. It hasn't even been 10 years, and they already got to the point where they are grinding down the leftover bones and selling it as powdered milk. I do realize that if it wasn't for all of that money, Metaphor would probably not exist, but seriously, a Chinese gacha. Yes, it has the oddest velvet room attendant, but come on, that's enough. With this battle royale approach to the franchise, where any sort of quality coherence has been thrown completely out of the window, it wouldn't be so far-fetched to say that Dohna Dohna, Let's Do Bad Things Together, is as much as an official Persona 5 spin-off as any of the others. While the Phantom Thieves were busy stealing hearts, these guys were hardcore hustlings just 2 towns over.
Hey buddy, I think you got the wrong door. The leather club's 2 blocks down.
Fuck you.
And fortunately, this one doesn't have you shooting a god in the face, but I promise you, it's still cool in its own way. Without going too much into detail, you play as a ragtag group of young rebels who lead a normal life by day, and by night they put on some S&M gear and call each other with special codenames while committing crimes as a way to fight against the corrupt society.
Oh my god.
Each day, you can choose to spend your free time with one of your teammates to increase their friendship bond, resulting in new abilities. While there are no demons here to negotiate with, you do go through pseudo-dungeons to acquire hot girls to later hustle and finance further criminal activity. For how blatant the core inspiration is, they really catch you off guard with the Darkest Dungeon-inspired combat, at least for the part of being a turn-based RPG, where the strategy is built around the careful positioning of the player versus the enemy on a singular horizontal plane. However, the art style and presentation keeping itself closer to Persona was a deliberate choice as a way to contrast with the heavy themes that the game dwells into. It all works surprisingly well, largely in part to how quickly the encounters feel, and this was only possible because of how stylish all the animations are. Like, check out this shit. Oh, fuck yeah! That is a plot reason as to why the protagonist can't shoot for shit outside of point-blank range, but that is besides the point.
Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me!
Doesn't matter how many times I see this, it looks cool as fuck, especially when you get a critical hit and send the enemy packing. Even if you don't care for a particular party member, seeing all the cool shit they can pull off should be incentive enough to level up everyone accordingly. If there was too subtle of a hint, I'll say it again. You should level up everyone accordingly. This is a game where one level can make all the difference, so don't be afraid of stepping out of a dungeon and returning later, especially for the final one, which turns out to be a challenge even if everyone is leveled up and equipped with their best. No need to worry about the days passing, because outside of certain story moments, you basically have infinite time. All of this is further enhanced by a surprising banger of a soundtrack that definitely put its chips in the right place. After 30 sex scenes you might get tired of the same ambient tracks, but then you get to a new dungeon and oh fuck yeah, winning crimes is awesome.
I've been waiting for this.
In retrospective, the only real problem that I have with the game is the same that I have with the entire genre, which is how the concept of brevity doesn't seem to exist to any of the writers. Like, yeah, it's a novel with visuals, so besides some static illustrations and PNGs sliding about to convey emotion, text has to carry the whole thing by itself. But come on, you can always scroll back to the text if you miss something. I don't need every character in a scene to say their opinion before the plot moves forward.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Unfortunately, my experience with visual novels is surface level at best. Without thinking too much about it, I must have only played around 20 games in the genre, and they are pretty much the most popular ones. So maybe the hidden gems are still out there for me to find, but so far, quantity over quality seems to be the meta for the genre. This problem ends up spilling over to the erotic sections, but I'll excuse them on that front. If someone pointed the gun in my direction and forced me to describe sex in 50 different ways without repeating myself even once, I would just save them time and hit the gun. This is largely alleviated by the sheer range of variety when it comes to its erotic content. I'll be damned if there isn't at least one thing in here that doesn't tickle your pickle. You just have to go in and find it. Sometimes you gotta put in the work to get the results, you know. And most of the content is beyond the 6 main girls that are a part of the group, gradually unlocked as you grow closer to them, so let me give you a quick rundown on them. You have Kira Kira, the happy-go-lucky gal who joined this whole crime business because she was bored. She looks like she's the one to take charge during the heat of the moment, but she is quick to melt at any serious advances towards her. Porno is, well, first of all, her normal outfit is really cute, but then her hunting gear with this belt thing just looks stupid. I'm sorry, but the protagonist of the Citadel wears a similar thing, and the sentiment carries over. Although ridiculous, her name is not just for show, as she is always quick to prove her experience in the business. For better or for worse, she is considered the default romance route. Medico is a med student that came from the outside and quickly got involved with the rapid corruption of the city while looking for her missing father. As expected, she is the reserved girl that turns out to be the biggest pervert of the bunch. Antenna is the spunky Supa Haka that barely knew what sex was before joining the group, but after a few rounds she immediately wants to try virtual Minecraft sex. Might be on the spectrum, but honestly, who isn't? Kikuchio is the type to excel at everything she does, so her journey consists of breaking her down her restraints in a series of escalating sexual romps. Alice is the developer's mascot who took the role of an assassin tool for a mysterious outsider force. While her description explains that her body is more developed than Porno and Antenna, she's mentally underdeveloped. No wait, mentally challenged? That's even worse. She's a slow learner. Yeah, let's go with that. She has a twin sister who is perfectly fine, so I don't know what's up with Alice. Luckily, this is a 2-in-1 kind of deal, so her design didn't go to waste. Before you ask, this one is a boy. No, you can't fuck him, but someone else will if you aren't careful enough. Yeah, that's where the other half of the erotic content is located. Forget all you know about time limits and fake urgency in games. When you stumble upon a key moment of the story where one of the girls gets kidnapped, they are literally not fucking around about that. You either do that shit right away, or they're going to get their ass destroyed. Although the story continues forward, this will get you blocked from attaining the affected girl's ending. Furthermore, if you completely wipe out during a no-retreat dungeon, you'll be rewarded with a bad ending scene, with each girl having a unique one. Plus, if one of the girls gets defeated during combat with an attack that does 10 times their HP, you get to see their clothes getting destroyed. This last one also applies to the female bosses, so at least you can pay them back on that front. In the end, your experience and opinion of the game can totally be different from someone else's, depending on your sexual deviancy or if you just plain suck at video games. And you're really apt to suck something fierce, as you can see all the bad routes coming a mile away. But do not fret for lost time, as with this being a visual novel at heart, you can just fast forward through every part of the game. Maybe you had to reload and the last save was in the beginning of the episode, or a particular scene isn't of your interest. Just skip it all of it away, it's that easy. In case you are interested to know more about the story, I can give you a quick synopsis. Just know that it's overall pretty simple and mainly a vehicle to get the characters to involve themselves on all sorts of sexual shenanigans. It should go without saying, but I hope you know the concept of suspension of disbelief. The story takes place in the fictional Asougi city, named after the corporation that controls every single aspect of its citizens' lives. On their path to becoming a perfect utopia, the freedom of the masses was stripped away, and any act seen as inappropriate is enough ground to exile someone, never to be seen again, to what their propaganda calls of temporary work. As a result of such oppressive living conditions, some of the citizens began grouping together to fight against the system on their own terms. These so-called anti-Aso clans partake in several different types of crimes as a way to rebel. But the most popular one between all of them is hustling, an activity that fits its own citizens to the underlying vice of the pristine city. You take control of Kuma, a member of the Nayuta clan and their main hustler, as he seeks to take personal revenge for what the Asougi corporation has done to him in the past. So, how does one hustle exactly? Besides the expected visual novel segments that push the story forward, the game is divided into two main segments, hunting and hustling. As the plot advances, new locales are unlocked for the gang to explore and do some crimes. After picking a place, they rush through a linear map filled with events until they either scram for a tactical retreat or get to the end, which automatically ends the day. There is no turning around here, the path you choose is the one you must follow, so if you miss a special item, you must come back some other day. Repeated visits are common, because that's how you get additional items, and most importantly, talent. In these special marked battles, there will be one girl that you must save for last in the encounter. If you persuade her in the final turn, she will then join your cause. Of course, she will pass out if you so much look at her funny, so these sort of work like puzzles, as you try to take care of the surrounding forces without any collateral damage. In the following day, you get every girl you manage to persuade into your garage, so you can decide who actually gets to join. And this is where the real hustle begins. Where the battles might not suffer from any sort of RNG, the hustle part requires your full attention if you intend to make the big bucks. You have very limited resources, and everything has to be managed very carefully. Each day you can and you should buy things from the shop, because you can only buy one of each item that is randomly put together. You can get permanent upgrades for your facilities, but these always cost too much, so you're better saving your money until you can catch them at least at 30% off. As for every other item, especially those of the training variety, I recommend grabbing them all regardless of the price. This can be used to train the stats on your talent, which are divided into looks, technique and mentality. They are all equally important, and you must balance them out as you put them to work, as they can easily gain or lose points, depending on what or who you have them do. Looks is what decides if a client will choose them, technique is how much money they'll make out of a hustle, and mentality is basically their health. If this one hits the rock bottom, then the girl will become broken, which makes her pretty much useless. Like that wasn't enough, you must keep all of your talent on the pill, or they'll be at the risk of getting pregnant with each hustle, leaving them in a permanent state, which causes their stats to quickly drop with subsequent hustles. This is only a big problem because, hey, there aren't enough pills to go around, and I guess Japan isn't familiar with metal hangers. Are you really going to waste 2 or 3 pills to guarantee 100% protection on a new girl that doesn't even know the grapefruit technique? Out of your fucking mind if you think I do. So, here's what you should do. Throw that bitch to the first guy that wants her for a quick buck, and then BAM! Get the fuck out of here with your broken pregnant ass. The complexity escalates even further as clients start getting picky and will want specific traits from the talent, but in return they might give them something back. This might give further bonus to their stats, but they're also the motherfuckers that like to play rough and might leave your talent in a less than optimal state. Having that in mind, it's a good idea to keep a bad bitch around, just so you can parry a shitty client into the rival talent, saving your ass and fucking theirs in the process. As the story progresses, sometimes you get these quick scenes presenting special talent, hinting to where you might be able to acquire them. These are unique as they present an extra challenge that requires some specific steps to progress their own storylines, but in return they have special scenes with unique illustrations, so they add to the variety of what the main cast can offer. All of these are designed by popular guest artists, so you might be able to recognize some of them by the art style alone, with some pretty worthwhile scenes in here, even proving that love can bloom in the prostitution battlefield. God fucking damn it, not again! I can't with this country and their constant cucking shit. Fucking stop it! Anyway, does this get a recommendation from me? Yeah, but it's also more complicated than that. If you are somehow interested in everything that the game has to offer, besides the erotic content, there is in fact an option to disable all of that, so when something is supposed to happen, they fade to black into the next section, much akin to the Persona's suggestive moments. Just consider there are still going to be tits bouncing everywhere, and a petite girl in S&M gear called Porno, who is an important character to the story, so the line you're drawing for yourself here is pretty dubious. In consideration for those interested in where the story goes, but who won't be bothered to play the game, no need to go look for another video, I can give you a quick recap on the ending. The first 90% of the plot goes just how about you would expect, with each acquired party member getting their own establishing episode, and later on a subsequent moment where their resolve wavers, much due to getting assaulted or at least close to it. When it comes the time to facing the big bad, it's revealed that all of the gang hustle business was planned by Asougi from the beginning, to keep the rebels under an outlet that they could control. Nayura's leader and cool guy Zappa also turns out to have blood ties with the Asougi, so he does the old turncoat thing to try to protect his friends from a worse fate. But I'll forgive him for the old thing, because shit, look at this dude. When they finally manage to corner the antagonist, he pulls out a fucking metal gear, and you better have your shit together, cause that thing is not here to fuck around either, and will throw multiple nukes at its feet to prove a point. Wait a minute. Metal Gear. Talent recruiting. They play this like a damn fiddle. You'll feel ashamed of your words?
The world calls for wet work, and we answer. No greater good. No just cause.
All of this was to reveal the truth beyond Asougi to the world, and the best they could come up with was driving the Metal Gear to the public and start shooting everywhere in hopes Asougi got blamed for it. And that's it. That's the ending. You then get the corresponding ending according to which girl you had the higher affection with, and that's a wrap. What about the ridiculous amount of loose plot threads? A sequel bait, I would assume. At least you get a bunch of bonus stuff as a reward. Stuff like developer commentary with in-depth behind-the-scene notes directly from the director, and the insane yet hilarious ramblings of Gyokai, the dude who was responsible for most of the illustrations and battle animations. You also get this sort of New Game Plus, where for each achievement unlocked, you get points that can be used on a new playthrough to unlock some starting bonuses like money and experience, but you can also get a copy of your teammates to use for hustling. I'm sorry Taro, but with our money situation, you're going to have to take one for the team. You can also unlock an additional special dungeon that is fucking hard, in case you are that much into the gameplay. Surprisingly enough, the game actually supports the addition of custom talent and clients, so there's certainly some fun stuff that you can do here with that. With such a great game, it's a shame that despite having an official English release, it still came out with the usual Japanese censorship. But at least there's a patch to uncensor it, you just have to know where to look for it. What can't be fixed so easily is the biggest technical problem of the game. In case you somehow haven't noticed, the footage is really blurry, and I swear it's not my fault. For some goddamn reason, this brand new game that was released in 2020 was built to be played at 720p. If you don't know what that means, if I was to play it on my desktop's resolution, the entire game would look like this. This means that when you try to play it on anything higher, the image gets stretched and everything gets blurry, text included. Oh well, at least I don't need a card with ray tracing to run it decently. For those still curious about the game and its origins, I can also give some more insight into that. It's not like such masterpiece came completely out of left field, as the developer Alicesoft has been doing this for quite a while, 1989 to be specific. Even if you weren't aware of their existence or their massive software catalog, certainly you've seen this motherfucker before. If not, allow me a quick tangent. From a worldwide perspective, games that are mainly defined as visual novels are often categorized as eroge, games which contain erotic content. It's guaranteed that when someone tries to recommend a visual novel, they are definitely going to get it instantly with a follow-up question of, is this porn? To which the answer either goes into the easier, yeah, or the classic, no. I mean, there's a scene where she kinda sucks your dick, but like, of course, when someone thinks of a visual novel, they can only imagine mashing through hundreds of thousands of text boxes. And God forbid if someone tries to read something longer than a minute description nowadays. That's actually how Alicesoft got their big break back then, when people had already begun to grow tired of the visual novels as just another way to get their pornography. They actually made a full-on RPG that quickly grew up in popularity, carrying them well beyond the turn of the century. Even if you don't care much for the erotic content within, I absolutely recommend Sengoku Rance, which is a pretty solid strategy conquest game where Rance tries to take over Japan with the power of his hyperweapon. If you prefer an easier entry point, there is also Rance Quest, an RPG parody that is also great. These are actually the 7th and 8th entries in the Rance series, so if you really want to get into all of this from the very beginning, there are also remakes of the first 2 games available. To my surprise, you can even find all of these officially available at Good Old Games, so that should only give it more credence on how legit they are. And finally, in case you are still curious what the hell Dohna Dohna is even supposed to mean, it's derived from a folk song of a similar name about an animal being led to slaughter. The song gained popularity in Japan for its usage in the anime Revolutionary Girl Utena, and the phrase Dohna Dohna has since been adopted as slang to refer when someone is forced into a bad situation. The curious addition of the letter H alludes to the Japanese term ecchi, often abbreviated as age, which is used as shorthand to refer to any content of a sexual nature. Okay. I hope it was as good for you as it was for me, and I'll see you on the next one.
Now go! And let the legend come.